also described how the phone would sometimes ring and all they could hear.
Right then folks, again we're just bimbling along on the road, going to see a lighthouse, and we've come across something called Kirkmadrine stones. So I think from the earlier sign that I've seen, these are early Christian stones. I don't know, so we'll go and have a look. But as you can see, there's just it's just emptiness. There's so much around here, it's absolutely absurd. So we're going to have a wander up there now. Going to go and see what that is all about. Who knows? Fantastic, brilliant. So we just come through that gate, and the very sound of it gives you that kind of haunted feeling. So we'll see how we get on. If I get murdered, this could be like the Blair Witch Project video. So what we actually have is a little churchyard and a little church. How completely random. There's a rather interesting gravestone over there we will go and see. Oh look. Wow. These are carved by some of Scotland's first, I don't know if you can see them too well. I'll have to get some pictures put up. Too much reflection. But these were carved by some of the very first Christian settlers of Scotland. Somewhere around about the 600s. Wow, they're fantastic. It's actually fantastic imagery of them. Oh, what a fantastic place. This caught my eye. Did this one. Look at this one. Look at the detail on that. So we have, what do we have? We have a skull, we have crossbones, and we have a face with wings. I'm not entirely sure what that is in the middle, like some kind of dagger maybe?
If you ever find yourself wandering a wild and windswept coast of southwest Scotland, you might stumble across a tiny, peaceful looking church called Kirkmadrine. At first glance, it seems quite enough. Ancient stones, old graves, a bit of sea air, nothing unusual. But, as with many old Scottish churches, the stories lurking here are far more interesting than the scenery. Kirkmadrine is believed to be one of the oldest Christian sites in Scotland, with carved memorial stones dating back over 1400 years. Now that's a lot of history packed into one small churchyard. And where you find centuries of history, you often find a few ghosts who haven't quite checked out. Local tales speak of strange figures seen wandering among the gravestones after dark, shadowy shapes that seem to drift between the ancient markers before vanishing into the night. Visitors have reported an uneasy feeling here too, that classic sensation of being watched despite being completely alone. Then there are the mysterious lights, small glowing orbs said to appear around the churchyard on misty evenings. Some claim they're spirits, others blame marsh gas, and some people just decide it's probably best not to investigate. Of course, being Scotland, there's also the possibility that the weather is simply playing tricks on you. A bit of fog, a strange shadow, and suddenly you're convinced a medieval monk is following you home. Whatever the truth, Kirkmadrine remains one of fascinating places where history, folklore and mystery blend together. So if you visit, take a walk through the churchyard, admire the ancient stones, and if you happen to spot somebody wandering between the graves, maybe just make sure they're actually alive before saying hello.
Alright folks, we have had a drive out, only about 40 minutes, but it seems to have taken a lot longer, to the Mult of Galloway. What an absolutely stunning piece of coastal beauty. I don't know how else to explain it. There's a lighthouse behind me, that's why I've come down here, and I believe there's a cafe. I don't know whether it's open. I hope it is. I fancy a cup of tea and a cake. So we're going to go and have a wander. I'm going to put my jacket on because it is very breezy outside. We're going to go and have a wander, look at the lighthouse, take some pictures, take some video. I'm absolutely in awe so far by just a smidge of what I've seen of Scotland. Absolutely stunning. There is a campsite down there which looks utterly amazing. So I need to look at that. It's just in a little tiny bay, and then there's camping everywhere. I believe there's people stopping up here as well. There's people that have got their vans up on ramps, so I believe people are parked up here as well. So yeah, off we bloody go.
Standing here at the Mull of Galloway, you're at the southernmost point of Scotland. It feels like the edge of the world, with dramatic cliffs dropping into the sea and views stretching miles across the Irish Sea. On a clear day, you can even spot the coastlines of Northern Ireland, England and the Isle of Man. But this beautiful landscape has a long and sometimes dangerous history. For centuries, these waters were a vital route for traders, fishermen, sailors and smugglers. Unfortunately, they could also be treacherous. Powerful currents, hidden rocks and sudden storms claimed countless ships. Before modern navigation, sailors approaching this coastline often found themselves at the mercy of the weather, and many never made it safely home. To help guide vessels through the darkness, the Mull of Galloway lighthouse was built in 1830 by the famous Scottish engineer Robert Stephenson, the grandfather of author Robert Louis Stevenson. For nearly 2 centuries, its light has warned ships away from the dangerous cliffs below. And where you find shipwrecks and isolated coastlines, folklore is never far behind. Local stories tell of strange lights appearing out at the sea on a stormy night. Some believe they were lanterns of ghost ships, doomed vessels, endlessly sailing the waters where they met their fate. There are also tales of phantom sailors, and according to local legend, figures dressed in old seafaring clothing have sometimes been spotted standing silently on the cliffs during foggy weather. And by the time anyone looks again, they've vanished into the mist, and some say they're the spirits of sailors lost in wrecks along this rugged coastline, still watching the sea they never escaped.
I then come into Stranraer, or just outside of Stranraer. There's like a cafe snack bar thing called the Bunker. It looks over. I think this is classed as a lock. Let me just check because I'm not entirely sure. But it looks out here. I wanted a cafe. This was the closest one that I fancied. So yeah, gonna go and get something to eat, early lunch, and then do what I gotta go do because we're really ahead of time today. Got myself a delicious small breakfast. Oh, with a bit of haggis. So this is Loch Ryan behind us here. And it's very interesting, isn't it, that we think about like where I come from, up in the Lake District, our lakes are big and majestic and fantastic. In here, they're just something else. I mean, this has its own weather system, its own tide currents, everything, you know. So yeah, fantastic little spit of land that I'm on at the moment. Rhines, I think it is. There's a North Rhines and a South Rhines, and I'm stopping at North Rhines this evening in a campsite. So there's a couple of spots around here that I want to go and see, that I'll usually kind of complete this afternoon. So it's a fair amount of driving because it's a lot of kind of twisty, windy roads. I'm going to eat this. You lot can bugger off. Well, catch you at the next spot. Right, we've just pulled into a little place called Port Patrick, and we're going to go head off and go and see Dunskey Castle. Now, There ain't a great deal of parking here. There's some parking on the outer edges of the town. The car park's quite small, so if you have a longer van, it might be a bit more difficult to get in with a longer van. As you can hear, the dog is an idiot again. So yeah, get ourselves sorted. I'm going to go and head off along the coastal section there. Have a look. So the car park is just behind us. It's free, there's no charge. I'm going to head up along towards, there is a large car park at the end of the town, but it has a height barrier in it and I can't get it. So head up these steps and go see what awaits us. So welcome to Dunskey Castle. It sits just at the edge of Port Patrick, which is just down there. A steep climb up them steps, blowing out my ass. But this was home to a Walter de Curie, who apparently imprisoned an Irish minstrel here for mocking him during one of his shows. And he imprisoned this guy and tried to starve him to death, and the minstrel escaped and kind of went under the tunnels which leads to the caves below and was never seen again. But his flute, his pipe, his music, he says to at times haunt this place and resonate throughout this building. There's also a story of a nursemaid as well, which wanders these grounds and haunts the place. And of course of a brownie. Now if you don't know a brownie is slightly different than a pixie. And a brownie is said to be helpful and to help around. And I think within English folklore, a brownie, as long as you paid it milk and kindness and things like that, it would continue to do things around farms, usually helps farmers out. But if you wrong them or anyway or anger them, they disappear and you don't see them again. So yeah, fantastic position, and this is the kind of thing I wanted to see. As soon as I go out here, you're not going to be able to hear me. What's this? Oh my god. And so this is a monument to the Port Patrick lifeboatman who in 1953 fought bravely to rescue those of the Princess Victoria. This might have been the old lifeboat station then. It is now completely defunct if you look. It's all a bit ramshackled now, and I'm assuming that's where the slipway was over there for the lifeboat house. And this would have been the lifeboat house here. And of course, this over there is the new lighthouse station now. Like gears. So I wonder if there was something there. What is that? Is that cod? Oh my god, I don't know if you can see this, but in the water down there, there is 2 extremely large fish, which I think, no, I'm not sure what they are, but they are big old boys. They are eating fish. And of course there's the new lifeboat today. Look how fancy that is compared to the little rowing boat that they would have had out in their day. Yeah, funny enough, there's a fella fishing on a dock over there, and I says, pop yourself around there, there's 2 great big fish right at the surface of the water. And he went, I can't catch them, I've already been trying. So I'm assuming that's why they're at the surface of the water, because they don't give a shit about people trying to catch them. Clever buggers. But Port Patrick, beautiful place. Let's go and get an ice cream. Alright folks, we are at a little spot called North Rhine's campsite. Shh! I don't know what's up with the dog. It's such a quiet, beautiful little spot. It's just outside of Stranraer. And it's in this little plot of land, and there's a couple of spots for vans and there's some spots for tents and that. So it's not a very big spot. Clean toilets, clean showers, very nice. Fresh eggs for sale. The owners are lovely. I think the guy's from the northeast by the sounds of him. Very knowledgeable. They will tell you everywhere that's around here. There's so much stuff around here. Information leaflets in there as well. Yeah, beautiful little spot. Just secluded in the trees. Beautiful view out the back. I mean, can't want much more. The signal's a bit iffy here. There's very, very little Wi-Fi phone signal. So yeah, unless you've got it on the van and it's good, you're probably going to need to take a walk just up the hill there, which we'll probably do in a bit after I've had a cup of tea. Fantastic day out. Some places I didn't even mean to pop into, like the Mull of Galloway and the lighthouse. Didn't even mean to pop into that. That was absolutely amazing. Down onto the beach at Stranraer, on the edge of Loch Ryan, to have something to eat, and that food was delicious. That haggis was absolutely on point. I know haggis isn't everybody's favourite, but that was absolutely beautiful. I have some white pudding, which I'm going to fry up in the morning along with some eggs for my breakfast. Another castle to go to. And we're going to kind of scoot across the country and go and find Merlin's grave, and then see what else is on the way as we go. Just like there's so much to see, so much to do. And the guy was just saying it's a forgotten little part, is this? So it's very quiet. He said there is a bay about 3 miles that way, and I would have it to myself if I wanted to, but I'm not sure about doing a 6 mile round trip, to be fair. So we'll probably have a wander up to the monument, which is a mile up there. Go and have a look at that after we've had tea and settle down for the night, basically. And that is about it. So I'm going to make some food, feed the dog, and then we're going to have a wander up to that monument up there and try and find out something about the monument. Happy days. I'm going to try a run. Let's see how this goes. We're going to head up the hill to where the monument is and just have a run and see what it's like. Agnew Monument, apparently. I passed this on the way in and I wonder what about it. Oh, it's an Ironhead hill fort, built in 1850 in memory of Sir Andrew Agnew. Built to commemorate Sir Andrew Agnew, who was a Member of Parliament for Wigtown on 4 successive occasions. But yeah, also an Iron Age hill fort. Oh, okay. All I can say is they must have loved him. This was built for by public subscription. So the members of the public actually gave money. Oh. Built for by subscription, public subscriptions. Members of the public gave their money to build this, and it overlooks sort of Stranraer and the Irish Sea from here. Don't think I've got any ticks yet, but they must have loved him. There's these massive So that was the monument. Interesting little spot. So we had a little bimble, about 2 miles I think, there and back. Clouds are coming in now. It's still windy down here. I've added some more things on for tomorrow simply because they are on the way out. So I can just literally go buy them and see them on the way out. Yeah, fantastic. I will catch you in the morning.